Hi, friends. This is your pal Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. We're going to talk about Shadow Dark, and we're going to talk about Kelsey Dionne at Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo 2, which happened in January of 2025. It was a phenomenal convention, and Kelsey Dionne was brought in as a special guest for Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo 2. She ran Shadow Dark there. She visited the people who ran Shadow Dark there. And I will say, I think more Shadow Dark was run at Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo than any other game at all, right? And I want to talk about that a little bit. So first, let me explain my my interaction with Kelsey Dionne and my thoughts on her attending. Okay, and my thoughts on Dungeons and Dragons and my thoughts on Shadow Dark. All right, let's jump in. So first of all, I was in the proximity of Kelsey Dionne. Got to see her in person. I got to see her running a game, and I was about 20 feet away from her. I took a picture, and and which was really exciting. And I got to see she's a real person, and that's really a big deal. And you're like, well, wait a second, you just were in her proximity. It counts. Like it's a big deal to me. And the reason why, the reason why I think this is important is I listen, right? Like Chapel Roan, right? Chapel Roan is a celebrity, but she's like, the cost of celebrity is very high. So why didn't I get to, why didn't I just walk right up and shake her hand and, and talk to her? And because one, I try to be respectful, if there's an opportunity and I can have access to a person, then I will get access to that person, right? And actually, I will say, at Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo, that was the case with pretty much everybody there except Kelsey, right? Kelsey was kind of a special, she was a rock star even at Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo. She was a bigger star than anyone there, period, end of sentence, period, right? And let me give you a little bit of evidence on that. So one, so the other thing is I was in proximity of Gary Gygax at the 2004 Gen Con, and I just walked past him and I realized it was him. And I think a lot of people would be like, oh, sign my book, I want to shake your hand. But I do feel like I try to give people their space, right? And so for me, it's enough to stand in the proximity, right? Like, to see the person, see they're real, see them with my own, as Darth Vader said, with my own two eyes, right? Yeah, like it was a big deal. I really, it was a highlight of the con. It was one of the highlights of the con, right? And it was a real honor just to stand in her proximity and watch her run a game, right? So, but I didn't want to interrupt her. And even there, Shadow Dark, and here's the kicker. Shadow Dark is a massive hit right now. I don't know if you know this. There's Dungeons and Dragons, and then there's Shadow Dark. Now, the reality is Shadow Dark is not outselling most other tabletop role-playing games. Actually, get this. It's not outselling a lot of games, but the hype for it is super intense, right? Every creator is talking about what Kelsey has accomplished. And at cons, all cons, every con that has tabletop role-playing games right now, it is the hotness right below Dungeons and Dragons, right? So there were a lot of people that wanted to talk to Kelsey, and get this, every single one of her games was completely sold out. Well, if you got to the con and you wanted to play in Kelsey Dionne's games, you could kick rocks because there was not a single seat available, right? And so she really was somewhat inaccessible, right? And that's not Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo's, they tried to make and honestly, every other celebrity there was very accessible. You could shake their hand, you could talk, have a conversation, but Kelsey, she's got a hit, right? And she is the it girl right now in TTRPGs. No two ways about it, right? It's just the way it is, right? All right. So, and that was the same at this con. There was just a ton of people playing Shadow Dark, and I played in a Shadow Dark game here when I was there. It was absolutely. Now, I have opinions on Kelsey Dionne, and seeing her in person, and and witnessing people excited about her game. So how were people excited? So what was the excitement I saw at Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo? When I played in my Shadow Dart game, which was not with Kelsey, there were 2 people who flew in from Huntsville, Alabama, all the way up to Philadelphia specifically to play in Kelsey's game. What? Like, you're like, that's thousands of dollars, right? For the stay and the tickets. They had to buy gold memberships to get that, right? Thousands of dollars spent just to play in her game. That's, she's next level rock star, okay? Now, all right, here we go. What's my take on her now that I've seen her, seen how she runs, and seen how she interacts with people who are running her games at a convention? Kelsey Dionne is the biggest waste of talent in all of tabletop role-playing games. Everybody keeps looking for the D&D killer. She built it. Why isn't it killing D&D? She's afraid to seize the crown, right? The crown is in her. She's afraid to put the crown on her head. And she is literally the embodiment of heavy wears the crown. She has the crown. It's in her hand. Everywhere you go, every designer is talking about what Kelsey Dionne has done, right? Swept the Ennies, a book. She's got to, you can't get, it's not anywhere. It blows off shelves, right? Like, you can't even buy it right now at Kelsey's website. You can go to Kelsey's website and she's like, it's back ordered. You can't even get it right now, right? Like, she has got the hotness, right? But she ain't got that Gary, swagger. She ain't, right? Gary was willing to put it down. Gary risked everything. Here's the problem with Kelsey. She won't get her Brian Bloom. She will not get a commercial monster that will make that game real. I'm not kidding, go to Kelsey's website right now and try to buy it. It's back ordered. They can't even sell it to you, right? She needs a claws and fang financial beast, right? Who will push that game forward, but she don't want to do it, right? She does not want to bear the weight of being the creator of the D&D killer. She created the D&D killer, but she just doesn't have the courage, the tenacity, and the desire to walk up the hill and try to knock the king off of it, right? Brilliant creative, brilliant creative. In fact, unparalleled, right? What she has done with Shadow Dart is unparalleled by any TTRPG designer alive. She is garbage at the commercial, and she lacks the courage and tenacity to go for the king on the hill. And that's a problem. And she's nice as peaches. She's a wonderful lady, but the reality is she built the D&D killer, but she doesn't have the chutzpah to own it, in my humble opinion. That's a problem. That's a problem. Every single word you heard in this video is my humble opinion. Absolutely nothing more, absolutely nothing less. The important part is when I hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic, please consider liking and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.